Hi everyone, my name's Lawrence Mann, freelance illustrator and master painter. This is a 3-hour illustration that has been shrunk down to a 20-minute speed painting. I'm working on a MacBook Pro and a 21UX Wacom Cintiq. This is an absolutely great drawing tablet. I'm also using Camtasia for my screen capturing software. This is not a free piece of software, by the way. You do have to pay for this piece of software. And I'm also using a Rode Podcaster as my microphone. Brilliant microphone as well. Okay, that's all my technical information out of the way. Let's crack on with the tutorial. Okay. I'm obviously painting in Corel Painter 2015. This is by far one of the best pieces of painting software available. Now, this piece of software is developed purposely for painters. Many other pieces of software out there that are developed for painting and for other things. Obviously, Photoshop is one of the big ones out there. Photoshop is meant for many things like photo editing, but obviously Corel Painter is just for painting. You can do photo editing in Corel Painter, but it's purposely built for painting. As you can see, this image is developing quite quickly, so I will get on with the show. In this tutorial, I'm only going to use so many brushes. I'm trying to keep it quite light on the ground. I don't want to get too complex, so I'm going to keep this quite basic. On the top left hand corner, just under where it says Corel Painter 2015, you'll be able to see the name of the brushes that I'm using. As I say, I'm going to keep it quite light on the ground, so I'm only going to use so many brushes. I'm obviously going to draw a nice trooper here, a nice soldier, so you can, I'm sure you've already seen the nice image as it ends up being. You can see my custom one palette, my brush palette. And they're all the brushes that I'm going to use in the painting here. Well, they're all my regular brushes, so I'm just going to choose from them. They're the brushes I use on my regular basis. Once you've found brushes that you like, you can create this palette by just pressing Shift and dragging them out of there to create your own custom palette. There we go. Right. So I'm just going ahead and I'm using my brushes and just erasing where I don't need to do. It's really simple. At this point, I'm just drawing on one layer. In Corel Painter, it's a lot simpler than a lot of other drawing packages. It's really nice. In many other drawing packages, I tend to use multiple layers. In Corel Painter, I tend to use just one layer and continuously work, going back and forth with many different brushes, and then using this blender brush as I'm using now to just work it all together. The paintings somehow look a lot more realistic and a lot more fluid. I'm guessing if you've looked into Corel Painter before, you'll already know that the paintings will look a lot more realistic. Here I'm just adding a few more layers on top to start adding colour onto the painting that I'm creating here. I've just added a fill layer. I'm just getting rid of that now. Didn't work for me, so I'm just deleting that. There we go. And I'm just adding more detail on. I've only used a few brushes so far, so I'm just trying to get the basic shape of that thumb right. Hands are always trickier than you'd expect, especially when you're doing forced perspective like this. But really I'm just going back and forth with a few brushes and the eraser on the outside lines there. Now I'm trying not to work in true blacks. I've got a couple on the eyes here, but that's about it. And we're about 5 minutes in now, and I'm just trying to get in more details on the eyes than anything else. I'm using a fair bit of white, but that's about it. I've got some darker shades, as you can see, but very few of them are actually true blacks. You can see how easy using Corel Painter is though. It really is just about using a few brushes. Once you find a few in there, there's literally almost 1,000 brushes, and it's quite easy to create your own brushes as well. But once you find a few that you really like, adding and blending the tones there with basic blender brushes as well can really bring this program to life for you. I haven't been using Corel Painter for years like some of the other Painter Masters. Once I found this program, it was really simple to use, and I got hold of it really quickly. I got the hang of it so quickly. Especially if you're used to other major drawing programs, you'll get the hang of this in hours, and you become really adept of it in days. And you see how I'm adding a thumbprint here just by playing around with another brush. The real dry flat brush here is giving me a lovely texture just to add a thumbprint on. And I can just go back to my other brushes here, my eraser, and just add in other layers on top. If you've ever had a play with this program, or if you're ever testing it out, or if you're a real pro at it, you'll know how easy this is. The good thing is you can blend these colours together and tones together to create something really simple. And it really does feel like painting naturally. Here we go. This is so much simpler than a lot of other things out there. But in 3 hours I've managed to create something really simple, really awesome as well. I was really happy with the way this painting developed so organically. One thing I do want to mention is the fact that this face is a lot more cartoony than I would normally do. But it just came along so organically, as I said. There's a lot of square brushes in this that I really appreciated as well. Now I'm starting to work on more layers here, bringing in some blacks and some greys. There's actually a few true blacks sneaking their way in now as the image appeared. And I've got chalky brushes and square brushes and some round ones as well. But the good thing is I can keep going back to my basic rounds and my blenders, bringing some really good tones. And I can always colour this in once I've got my image more or less there. And it worked really well to develop this. You can see how well the palette knife as well works as a blender. And I can get all that lovely texture in that I couldn't do in another program. Sometimes I work in Photoshop and come over to Corel Painter to finish an image off. Sometimes I work in Painter and bring it over to Photoshop to finish it off. Sometimes I'll do an image completely in Painter. It just depends which mood I'm in. It depends how I think the image will best turn out. It completely depends on the day. But this image, I knew instantly because of the textures that I wanted to achieve, and because of the mood I was in, I knew instantly this was an image I wanted to do in Painter. And because of the colours as well. As soon as I'd done this image, as soon as it was complete, I looked at it and thought, I'm so glad that I'd done this in Corel Painter. But the way this hand came out, this hand's coming out so nicely, but it was so tricky to get the forced perspective right on this hand. Part of me thinks I should have definitely done some photo referencing for this hand, but that worked really well. Okay, he looks great. There. Paint that extra bit of armour in. There we go. I'm happy with that. That works really well. There we go. If you want to find me on Facebook, my page is Lawrence Can Draw, same as my YouTube channel. There you go, it looks great now. I'm really happy with that. So this hand came out perfectly in the end, and the colours on the knuckles and everything, but that was thanks to Corel's great colour system. Here you can see me using an overlay layer to get the brush dabs on the helmets, having to go a bit back and forwards on the layer there, just to get all those that kind of marine pattern, just to get the army pattern right. Just putting in another layer just to get the lighter spots right. There we go. The good thing is I didn't have to be too neat here, I just had to dab it on and then go back on with the eraser. That worked really well. And just get those bits of the helmet there. Neaten it all up. Just change the opacity in. There we go. Now I could get back on with the hand. I kept going back and forwards on this hand as well. There. And then it was just about retouching and retouching and retouching until everything was correct. That works really well. There we go. But again, that thumb and just getting the position of it, I knew in my head what I wanted it to look like. But I just kept looking at it from different angles and different sizes. But here this is just the basic round brush and then just going in with a blender, so I didn't have to paint it all again and again. The blender did it all for me really. I could just go in with the blender and just tweak that. It wasn't painting, it was just using the blender. And then just adding a few layers on in overlay and gel or colorize. And then I can quickly just paint that in to add a colour over the top for the skin and for the army armour. I almost said fatigues then, but that is actually armour. There we go. And I can just colour the soldier up quite quickly. There we go. Just get his eyes and his teeth. That works really well. There we go. Just try and get those bits of skin that weren't so neat and tidy. Just add a bit of red in. There we go. And just try and get those bits of the helmet that weren't supposed to be green. Just change those out to white. Do the teeth again. Oh, those bits of skin. There you go. That's good. I can at least get some red in there as well. And see how the blender works. It got some really nice colour in there, even by accident. You see I've made that the eye red, but I can always come back to that. See how easily the colour is going in. It's actually really, really good and quick. This is why I often go from one program to the other, because I can do things quicker in Painter than I can in other programs. There we go. I can get rid of the red in the eye now. And that looks amazing. I'm really, really happy with the way that came out. That works really well. Yep. It needs a few more colours adding, but for right now I'm really happy with that. So I just need to play with all my layers. Okay. So yep, I'm just fiddling with all my layers here, just to try and flatten it down. There we go. So he's all flattened down now, and I can just create another layer just to go over everything and colour it completely. This is just on a colorize, so I can double check everything and colour everything exactly how I want it. Like this wristband needs to be black and not green. Just colour that piece of armour green. I can just get a dark shade of green. There we go. That works really well. Because I don't want everything that fluorescent green that I had it. There we go. I even painted a bit of the background green then to extend his armour. That works really nicely. I can add some white spots in and just highlights on the armour as well. There we go, paint that extra bit of armour in. So I'm using a bit of a scruffy brush just to add the texture in as well. I was really happy with that. Yeah, well, he's giving it a thumbs up anyway. And just polish up the texture on that. It's not a key focal point, so I'm not too concerned about it being perfect. It's just in the background. As long as his hand and his face are correct. It's only a concept piece for the video. I just wanted something quick that I could put on Facebook and YouTube to say, like my videos, like my Facebook. But I wanted to record something to show off Corel Painter, who have been really good to me. Made me a painter master. There we go. Again, you can see me just colouring this in with the blender. Again, I'm just moving this thumb around, trying to get the angle on it right. That works really well. There we go. And again, I'm just colouring it in with the basic round brush. Trying to get the bone of this right. I keep holding my own hand up to myself and looking at it on my iPhone to get the angles right. It's a bit hard using my own hand as a reference though. That works really well. There we go. I'll come back to that. There we go. Just trying to get the colours on this right. No, that's not right. That's not right. There we go. That's a bit better. Colour his knuckles and his thumb. Now I'll take the colour out of his face there to give him some stubble. There we go. And I'll make this a bit more obvious that I want you to like the video and like me on Facebook. There we go. If you want to find me on Facebook, my page is Lawrence Can Draw, same as my YouTube channel. Okay. Right, we're just dropping a background colour and a bit of a glow there, just to highlight the soldier and the thumbs up. Again, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you like the video. Now that we've got the background colour in, it's much easier to see which bits of the image we need to rub out, or the little scraps that are just hanging on here. Bit of the thumb that needs redrawing. Now what I want to do is just, other than the tidy up, just want to go around and add some little highlights. There we go. Now I'm just going to add some quick stubble onto him. Oh, I thought it'd look good on the armor's hairs, but no. No. Now just add some quick red over the word like, just to make it look a bit less like pen and a bit more like the highlight of his knuckle showing through. Now I'm going to go all the way around him and just add that highlight of the backlight coming off him. There we go. Just so we're blending him into the background a bit more. There we go. Okay. There you go, he looks great now. I'm really happy with that. So, adding that highlight onto his arm as well, and onto his helmet. Yep, he looks great. I'm happy with that. I'll just add some background colour in as well, some darker blue. There we go. Yep. Add some more colour in there and just blend it into the background. Move that bit. There we go. And I'll need to add some blue in there. Okay, he looks great. I'll move that across. Add some more blue. I'll just flatten those layers. Just blend that across again. I'm just using the soft airbrush to blend that one. Now I'll just select him, copy that across, squish it up a bit with free transform, turn that to overlay, but now I'm going to use the effects and Gaussian blur. There we go. He looks cracking. But now I'm going to use the palette knife on my background. And this is going to basically create a scraping effect. I could have just left it really soft, but using the palette knife is going to give me this nice kind of old-fashioned effect. Rather than a boring blurred background, I'm going to create this really harsh kind of scraping effect on the background. Now I'm going to rotate my canvas as I do this so that all my brush strokes are at the correct angle. I could change the rotation of my brush in the brush settings, but it's much easier to rotate my canvas. Now I've just added another layer and changed it to colorize, and I'm knocking down the opacity of the layer to give my image an overall color. And I've deleted sections of the color layer so I can see the skin through it and he doesn't look sickly at all. Now I'm just touching up the face a little, just his eyes there, as you can see, just to give him that extra bit of detail. And that's the image pretty much done. He looks great. So all that's left now is for me to sign it. And there you go. That took 3 hours, or 20 minutes for you. And I think that's absolutely cracking. Nice little sign off. So if you like that, please give it a big thumbs up. Make sure to comment and subscribe if you want to watch any more of my tutorials. Thanks, and I look forward to seeing you again.